Hi, friends. I'm Emily Lay, and you're listening to the Simplified podcast. If you're looking for a quiet place where you can filter out the noise and the hustle, this is it. Every week, I invite you to slow down and join me to explore practical ways to organize and automate the complicated parts of life so you can focus on what truly matters most. Today, we're talking about some of the best people in the world, teachers. Teachers do some of the most vital work on the planet, which is why we designed a simplified planner just for teachers. The Simplified Teacher Planner covers 12 months with Monday to Friday lesson planning spreads. It's the perfect addition to your classroom or a thoughtful gift for a favorite teacher in your life. You can even use it alongside a signature Simplified planner to organize, simplify, and carve out space for the good stuff. You can get the Simplified Teacher Planner today at emilylay.com. This time of year, as we get ready to go back to school for another year, my thoughts turn to the teachers. Oh man, how much are we thankful for our kids' teachers, especially after the last couple years? You guys have met my mom, Nana, on the show before. Nana was an elementary school teacher. For years, I watched her do an amazing thing. I saw a mother who loved her children and also loved her work. I watched her prepare lesson plans and grade mountains of papers. I watched her bring home gifts from kids who enjoyed learning from her almost as much as I did. I watched her carry her heart home every single night, filled with stories from the days in the classroom and solutions to problems her students experienced and bright hope for their futures. And after all of that, even at the end of a long day, she poured so much love and care into my brother and me. My sister-in-law, Taylor, reminds me a lot of my mom. Taylor works as the administrative director for Simplified, and boy, are we lucky to have her. She keeps all the trains running, and she learned how to do that from her days as a teacher. She taught school for 7 years, and actually, my mom inspired her to teach. She was so good at it, too. She'd make surprises for her students and sit with them one-on-one to discuss their feelings and call their homes when they were out sick, just to let them know she was thinking of them. Every single day, she wanted each of her students to know that someone loved them and cared for them, even at school. Teachers are literal heroes. That's what I'd call every one of my kids' teachers. It's definitely what I'd call Taylor. I wanted to have Taylor on the show today because I wanted to pick her brain on what it's like to actually be a teacher. I wanted to know what she loved about it, what was hard, and how parents could support teachers as they're also supporting their kids. Taylor shared all kinds of things she wished parents knew. I found it fascinating, and I think you will too. I won't spoil any of our conversation, but I came away from talking to Taylor with a big sense of hope. Because our kids are being led by people who believe in them, who believe in the next generation and their power to do good work and make good changes. If you're a parent, this conversation is for you. If you're a teacher, this conversation is for you too. I hope you feel seen and heard today. Okay, I'm so excited to share this one with you, so here we go. Here is what your kid's teacher wishes you knew, according to former teacher and my beloved sister-in-law, Taylor. Hi, Taylor.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, thanks for being here today. This is your Simplified podcast debut.
It is, and I am I'm a little nervous, a little anxious, but so excited to talk about something that is just near and dear to my heart. So
I
thanks for
love
having
it.
me. Yeah.
You're going to do great. And if you're watching, you can watch this on YouTube, by the way, if you're listening. Walter's in my lap. So we're going to go with this. Walter is going to be part of the conversation. He will add any input he has on what your teacher wishes you knew. So Taylor,
Yeah.
tell us about teaching, about your years of teaching. Who'd you teach? What did you teach? Tell us all that.
Okay. I taught for 7 years, and I taught grades 3 and 5. And
I forgot you taught fifth grade.
yeah,
In my head, you taught third grade the whole time. Huh.
No, 3rd and 5th. My first year was 5th grade, and
That's
then my last 2 years was 5th grade.
awesome.
But yeah, no, I loved the older kids. I just felt like I could relate to them more, and I like to banter back and forth and pick at them, and
Yeah.
just create a friendship really with them, more so than you can with like the little ones. So yeah, that was definitely my lane. So I enjoyed it a lot.
I love that. I was a substitute teacher when I was in college. I used to sub at the
That's
school you
hard.
taught at.
That's a lot different from being a teacher, in my
It's a
opinion.
whole lot different in a lot of ways. But
Yeah.
when I substitute taught, I liked the big kids too. I liked
Mhm.
working with the big kids.
Yeah.
So you taught third grade and fifth grade, but
Mhm.
what made you decide to become a teacher in general?
Okay, so as you know, your mom is the sole reason why I became a teacher. I was a senior in high school and I really didn't have a direction or a plan or anything. And it wasn't until your parents sat me down in their living room, and I'll never forget this conversation. They asked me, "What do you want to do? Like,
Yeah.
who do you want to be?" And no one had ever really
And by
asked.
the way, the people listening are probably like, "Oh my gosh, your boyfriend's parents sat you down and asked you this." But Taylor was really close to my family at that point.
Yes, very close. They were practically, like my parents. That's how I viewed them and
Yeah.
respected them, and that's just how we talk to each other on a
Yeah.
very like real level.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, they sat me down and asked me what I wanted to do, and I really just didn't know. I just thought maybe I'd have like a desk job. I'm not sure. And so it was your mom that suggested, "Hey, why don't you come shadow me at school this week?" I was like, "Okay." And I immediately just fell in love. I loved the camaraderie, the excitement in their faces,
Oh.
the joy that your mom had while doing it. And then thinking about like a future family, how teaching really supports what I would want, and
Yeah.
having time with them during the summers and that sort of thing. So yeah, I was sold. I was all in, and so then I had a direction when I started college. So
I love that.
yeah,
That makes me happy. My mom, she was an amazing teacher. She taught school for like what, like 38, 37, 38 years.
yeah.
And she taught almost every grade, I think. She started as a kindergarten teacher and then her last year was third grade. But
Hmm.
she was all over the elementary school and she was a phenomenal teacher. Like when we will see kids like at Target or somewhere that she taught who are no longer kids, who are like she made such an impact on me, and so I think that's so special
So
as a
special. Like
teacher.
I feel so blessed to have learned from her, because so
Yeah,
much of what I did, of course, came from her.
yeah,
Um, but so yeah, I feel like my kids were impacted because of her.
yeah. It's a
So
legacy. It's a
really,
legacy for sure.
absolutely.
What do you think was the? I mean, there's so many great, fantastic things about teaching, but like, what do you think was the hardest thing?
Um, okay. So I taught in a Title I school the first 5 years of my career. And that means that this is like the low income. Um, I would learn about some really hard times that kids were having at home.
Yeah,
It impacted my heart so deeply. And I would take it home and, just wonder, what can I do? What else can I do for them?
yeah.
And there's afternoons where they would just wrap their arms around my waist, like going to the school bus and not want to go home, and they want to come home with me. And that was just,
Oh,
I know it was the absolute hardest part, but also like I knew what I was doing was helping them. That they had a
yeah.
purpose to wake up in the morning and be excited for school. And um, so I felt lucky to give that to them all year. Um,
Oh.
but it was definitely hard for those situations. So
I think my mom would probably say the same thing. Like she taught at that school too, and it was such an amazing school. And she would tell me stories about the same type of thing. And like I think what's amazing is you have such a big heart and so you want to do everything. Like you want to fix all the things. You want to
mhm.
provide all the things, but like what you were providing, even though it only seemed like it was a fraction of their day or their life, like it was making like a lifetime's worth of difference, you know? I mean, I can still think back to teachers in my life that I'm like, you're the reason I became a writer. I actually ran into my middle school English teacher. You were with me at the brunch thing, and
Yeah.
I was like, Mrs. Ellis, and she was like, hi, and she didn't recognize me at all, and I was like, it's Emily Cowan. That was my maiden name, and I got to tell her like because of you and like the way that you and Miss Varner too from my high school, like
Mhm.
the way that you taught me to love literature and love grammar and love writing and reading, like I'm a published author now. And her face was just like, what? And it was just so it's so cool, but like you just never know the seed you're planting. It feels like it's so small, but it could grow into something magnificent, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
What do you think was the most rewarding part about teaching?
Um, I mean, teachers live for like the light bulb moments, of course, like seeing a skill that sticks,
Yeah.
after working so hard at it. But
Yeah.
I'd say above that, it was the community I was able to build within our classroom.
Yeah.
Um, I before the school year would start, teachers try to help the next, year's teachers like learn about their class and give them a little bit of insight and what to expect. And I would hear things like, so and so probably shouldn't sit next to him or her. They like to talk or they don't get along
Those are
as
those are my kids. They get those
yeah.
stories told about them.
Well, I would receive that and I would just think like I don't operate like that. There's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no like line drawn in the sand. Like we're all friends. We can all sit by each other.
Yeah.
So the first 2 weeks I really spent like building our community within the classroom and learning about one another and that set the foundation for the entire school year. And so,
Yeah.
you know,
You become like a team.
yes.
Last night we celebrated Brian's birthday. Brian's my husband, and my oldest. We went around the table and said what we were most grateful for about him. And Brady, all of them just about made me cry because what they said was so sweet. But Brady said, "You're such a good leader of our pack, and like we're like a team." And I was like, I was floored and felt like, oh my gosh, how lucky are we to have a family that's like a team? And I feel like it's like that in the classroom, that you're like, you're a pack, you're a team, and you're the leader. And how special to be able to, for kids to be part of a community that's being developed by a teacher that way, you know?
Yeah. And then, I would see things that would just happen organically that would just like make my heart swell. Like a student reaching out to another student for help
Ugh.
or, just anything, just little things. But all those little things add up to big things and it just makes a successful school year. So for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
that was the
Totally.
most rewarding for sure.
What do you think was the most fun thing that made you like laugh the hardest?
Um, okay, so I leaned on my humor a lot when I taught. So like I was the teacher that would stand on the table to get their attention or you know yeah, I made lessons like into competitions and games and riddles and hand gestures and whatever we could do to move our body and be fun and exciting. If I wasn't having fun, then I couldn't expect them to have fun or
Right.
want to have fun. So I always tried to bring the fun to the class.
I love
But
that.
probably the most funniest thing that happened was every year for like state testing as a motivator, I would bring in a pair of white jeans and a box of Crayola washable markers.
Fun.
I'd have every student write on my white jeans like a motivational saying,
Oh, cool.
um, like you can do it, and just cheering on their classmates or whatever. And I would wear it the morning of the state test. So I'm walking around the classroom, and they can see all those things on my pants. It's just like a reminder, like, yeah, I can do it, right?
Oh
Well,
my
one
gosh.
year when I did this, a student wrote their message, and at the end of the message, they put a big smiley face. But the smiley face was like in the front area. And so I had to roll with it. And so I show up at school.
I'm dying. I need a photo. Tell me you have a photo.
I don't think I will.
That's
I have a
so
photo of my pants,
funny.
and I don't think it was that year.
Oh,
Um,
so good.
so yeah, it was a moment that lasted all day amongst my grade level and my school, my team.
I asked my mom this question the other day, or this is a while ago, but I said, "What do you think? What do you think was like one of the funniest things?" And I will never forget. She brought up this story. There was this little girl in her class, and she went over to my mom's desk, and she was gonna like work on something with her, and she goes, "Miss Cowan, why is your hair yellow but it's black inside?" And my mom was like, "Time to get my hair highlighted."
Yeah, I can put it.
So funny.
They're
Kids say the
brutally honest.
funniest things. And now a word from our sponsor, Betterhelp. How often do you check in with your mind to make sure you're doing okay? When it's summer and I have a little more time on my hands, I make sure to take breaks to go on a walk or take a bath just to help my mind slow down. But when I'm in a busy season, I'm not as good about it, and I can feel it too. How we care for our minds affects how we experience life, so it's important to invest some time into keeping them healthy. An easy way to do that is through Betterhelp online therapy. Honestly, therapy has been one of the greatest gifts I've ever given to myself. Taking time to talk to a therapist about my life, the good things and the hard things, has helped me slow down and see things from a different perspective. Sometimes it's hard, but it's really rewarding. BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat therapy sessions, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. My listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/simplified. That's betterhelp.com/simplified. I try to create a home that's a soft place to land for our family. Comfy couches and soft throw blankets help, but you know what else does? Air that's super clean and fresh. That's why you've got to check out Aprilaire. Aprilaire is healthy air, and they have professional-grade air quality solutions that can help your family breathe easy inside your home. Their signature healthy air system is right for any home, in any climate, combining fresh air ventilation, filtration, humidity control, and so much more to protect your family from allergens, viruses, and even mold. Also, did you know too much or too little humidity can affect the quality of your sleep? But Aprilaire can balance your home's humidity levels to make sure you all get the rest you deserve. So help your home become a relaxing place for your family to breathe easy. Find out which Aprilaire solution is right for you at aprilaire.com/simplified. That's Aprilaire, AIRE.com/simplified. I am always on the lookout for small habits that make a big difference in my life. And after months and months of using this stuff, I am so happy to say that adding Athletic Greens AG1 powder to my routine has been a game changer. I started taking AG1 because I was spending so much money on vitamins and supplements, and having to remember which ones to take and which ones to restock was such a pain. With AG1, I've been able to replace all the vitamins and supplements I was taking with just 1 scoop of powder in a cup of water every day. AG1 has more than 75 essential vitamins and minerals, and to let me tell you, I am super weird about protein powders and supplements that have taste, but AG1 actually tastes good. AG1 supports better sleep quality, mental clarity, and alertness, and I can absolutely tell a difference. I can't recommend it enough. So reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/simplified. One more time, go to athleticgreens.com/simplified to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, so we're going to get real for a second, real serious. What did you, when you were a teacher, what did you really, really wish parents understood about your job as a teacher?
Ooh. The amount of pressure and expectation put on teachers.
Yeah.
Like, I can't speak about the pandemic because I did not teach through that time. Like, that's even a whole other mountain of
I can't even fathom.
things that they had to face. I know.
Yeah.
So with that aside, just like preparing for state testing, I can say that pressure is huge. Like, you get a list of students, right? Like 20 kids maybe or more, and they're like, okay, your job is to make sure they succeed, and you're like, okay, fair enough. Like, I get to do it my way. But no, like, they're, you have to assess them on the computer every week, every month, every quarter. Yeah, I need you to turn in those results to us. I need you to send us all your lesson plans. Oh, and the principal is going to stop by unannounced and look at this checklist to make sure you're doing all these things with your class. Oh, and then you have, 6 kids that have response to intervention plans, and you have to have one-on-one time with them separately, or they're going to fail your class. Oh, and then next year we're going to change the textbooks, the standards, the assessments. So don't even try to come up with your own game plan. Like, we're going to have to reinvent the wheel again next year. So It's like all these building blocks, against these teachers that just want to teach. Let teachers teach. Yeah. But it's the pressure, the expectation. It's trying to find time and ways to make it fun for them, and
right.
that that is definitely the hardest part that maybe a lot of parents don't realize. Um, the
Wow.
pressure is just bananas. So
I can't imagine. And then these last couple years, you add on, oh, now we're going, we have to go virtual.
yeah.
And I mean, so when that happened, I had preschoolers and what, Brady was in third grade? I forget. And then Brady was able to like kind of navigate things himself. He had experience with, learning
Mhm.
on a laptop or an iPad. Then the twins, they were in preschool and then they were in kindergarten, and it was like really fundamental years to be on virtual learning. And I just can't even fathom. If
Mm.
you're a teacher and you went through that, like, we love you and we thank you. And I just couldn't thank our teachers enough. Like, it was so difficult. I mean, it was so difficult for me and for the kids. I can't imagine what it was like from a
And
teacher's perspective, you know?
parents, like, they didn't go to school to teach, so
No.
they don't know, how to word things and how to help navigate studies. They
Yeah.
just yeah, that's what a time.
What
Like,
a time. What a time. What do you wish parents what do you wish parents knew about how to best support their kids at school? Like, what level of parent involvement is helpful to teachers and what's just kind of not?
um, okay, parent involvement. So, I mean, I loved when parents reached out, either like a quick text or a note or something that said, "What do you need?" Supplies run out quite frequently, or Kleenex or Clorox
Yeah.
wipes or whatever, and we don't want to keep asking, but if a
Yeah.
parent reaches out, like, that just makes our day. Like, you're gonna send me a box of Kleenex? Like,
That's so
that's
nice. I've
amazing.
never done that. I've never thought to reach out to a teacher and be like, "What do you need?" You know?
Mm-hmm.
I'll send in little gifts or things along the way, but like to reach out and be like, what can I do? What can I send? That's
Right.
great.
Just a quick check-in,
I love
really
that.
makes a difference. And then checking their folder, and sending back signed things like right away. Like, get in a routine of checking their folder every night, because that's probably like the main source of communication, is sending
Yeah.
things home. So, a teacher spending time to hunt down a paper that their parent needs to sign, that it's just really helpful if we could just get those in.
Yeah.
That's just little things, but um not so helpful involvement would probably be stopping by unannounced, because of course that's disruptive. um
Yeah.
it's hard to get a class back on track, but parents have a tendency of wanting to help their child, like with homework or whatever, get the right answer, which
Yeah.
is great. But if you teach them an alternate way of how the teacher is teaching them, then now
Oh.
they have like different things in their brain, and they might mix things up or whatever. But I know there's, especially with math, it's most
Oh
common.
gosh, I was gonna say that. Like
I
it's
know. I know the way that some curriculum makes you teach a math skill. It's like, why don't you just do this and then you're done, you know? But the way
I tell
they
my kids all the time, this is why God made calculators. Like, I
yeah,
don't know what y'all are doing, but I got my iPhone, so
well, speaking for like public school and testing, like, they'll present a problem on the test and just like leave out a couple, they'll have like blanks. So if they don't know how the problem is structured, or how to work the problem the way the teacher has taught them,
yeah.
then they won't be able to succeed on that test. They just know like the way you taught them.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's hard because you want your child to get the right answer and succeed and move on, but sometimes you just have to see how the teacher is teaching it,
Mm-hmm.
and try to support them as best you can from
Yeah.
home, in that way. So
Brady's always been kind of like a self-starter. Like I feel like I've been spoiled a little bit because he just picks up on things quickly and he's able to kind of self-motivate and do his homework and that kind of thing. The twins are a little bit different, and it's been so nice to have an older child who's learned things the same way, so I can be like, Brady, how do you do this math problem? Brady, come show the twins how to do their worksheet.
yeah, exactly.
It's helpful because you're right, some of the things are taught in a different way than we learned it, you know?
And I
um
totally get where parents come from. They're like, well, this is, dumb. Why are we
Right.
doing
This
this?
is complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember doing virtual school with the twins in kindergarten, and they were doing like counting, and it was like by tens, and then there were blocks of ten, and I'm like, why don't we just add this way?
Grouping,
But
yeah.
yeah, but it was a whole, I don't know, it was a whole other thing. But that is good advice. That was really good.
Yeah.
In your opinion, um, is there something parents could do that would be helpful to teachers? And this could be related to academic learning or social learning or behavior, any of it.
Okay. I would say your child's success is going to be a result of teamwork. So that
Mm-hmm.
is you working alongside your child's teacher.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the teacher's responsibility to get them there. Like they've got to feel supported at school and at home. So getting involved, reinforcing the studies as much as you can at home, whether it's, calling out spelling words in the car on the way to school. Or I know Brett, I think in third grade, like struggled with his six timetables. And your mom, he loved the song on Bended Knee or One Sweet Day
Oh,
or
you did. It was
yeah,
one sweet day.
One Sweet Day, yeah. And your mom would play the song and he would sing
I
the
remember.
multiplication tables to the song. And it clicked for him because,
I can still hear it. And we had like a
um,
45-minute to drive to school, like drive to school every day. And so we would listen to it over and over. It was
but he
six
got
times
it.
four is 24.
That's right.
Don't make me sing it for you.
Something else about what parents can do to help teachers would be just offer your time. If you don't have the time, then offer maybe your resources, whether that's, coming to make copies for them or seeing, like I said, if there's any supplies running low, checking in with them. But my favorite thing ever would just be someone bringing me a fountain Diet Coke. Like,
Oh, I love that.
teachers cannot leave their classroom or school. Like we are stuck there. So getting something from the outside world is what I like to call it, like was just so uplifting in the day. Just a coffee or a fountain Diet Coke, or it just made us
I
feel so
love
special.
I was room mom a couple years, and one of my favorite things to do is, and I don't know that everyone does this because we didn't have this at Brady's old school in Tampa, is doing the favorite things letter. And so we would have this worksheet that we would ask the teachers to fill out, and it would be like my favorite XYZ, my favorite drink, my favorite restaurant
Mhm.
in town, my favorite needs for the classroom or whatever, and we would have her fill that out or him fill that out, and we would send it to all the parents so they had it, and it was nice because then like what they
Yes.
like, what they love.
Mhm.
Um, okay, let's say that there is a teacher out there listening right now in 2022. What would you say to her?
I'd say thank you, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
short and sweet, thank you. Like, your work is straight from the heart and does not get the recognition that it deserves. And
Mm-hmm.
I will forever cheer for you. Like, they're the
Yeah.
pillars of our world, like without
Mm-hmm.
them, like where would we be? So I just really appreciate teachers, especially these days. Like, goodness gracious. Um,
I love
so
that.
thankful for them. Yeah.
Absolutely. What would you say to the moms listening?
I would say talk to your kids.
Yeah.
Dusty on our team, she says if their hands are busy, then their mouths will move. And I
Yeah.
love that.
I love that too.
Get them in the kitchen and have them, help. But the goal is to get them to open up and talk to you. Maybe they're gonna share something about a friendship in class or a skill that they find hard or,
Mhm.
you know, a goal that they have that you didn't realize. And I'd also say celebrate the little things. Like, you might be used to your child coming home with A after A after A, but, you know, just stop and just like really tell them how proud you are and celebrate them and let them pick what's for dinner or something to uplift them and let them realize that you are recognizing all their hard work. So,
Mhm.
and not to take it for granted because it is hard work.
Yeah. It really is. And from a mom of someone who has always been, I said Brady's really self-motivated and he's just things have come easier to him. He's in 5th grade and there are parts of school that are starting to get hard, where it's like, okay, this isn't just straight memorization or whatever. Like these are like critical thinking years. And I think that those things that we tucked in his pocket along the way about like, look, this is the product of hard work and all of that stuff. Like he's able to pull it out now when he faces other challenges. So I love that. And now we're going to do rapid fire. So I have 4 questions for you, and you just, whatever comes to your brain, you just spit it out. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
Teacher gift you received the most frequently.
Ooh, lotions and potions.
Lotions and potions.
Like lots of smelly things. Lots of body wash and lotion and hand sanitizer.
I get it. It's probably because parents are like, we want to spoil you and you to have like your own spa moment.
Yeah.
What is the best teacher gift you ever received? Other than a Diet Coke.
Yeah. It is really one of the best. Or show up with a sausage biscuit and I'm happy.
Okay.
But I received a little photo album. It was my last year teaching. Little photo album, and on the left hand side of the page it was the child's picture, and on the right hand side it was a handwritten note from them.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's so sweet, and I have it, and when I come across it I sit and just like cry into it.
That's how I feel about like the Mother's Day gifts that you get from school. Like, I keep your flowers, keep your chocolates, like those gifts where it's handwritten and it's from the heart, like those are my absolute favorite.
I agree.
That's
like
so
I will always treasure that.
What do you miss most about being a teacher?
Connecting with the kids and finding out what makes them tick. Like, it was a challenge for me that I loved. I loved finding out, or making them like love school. You know, you always have a student or two that are like, I don't need to learn this, or I'm too cool for school, or, like there's some kind of attitude towards, because it could be a result of not having great years prior, so you have to untrain their mind. So I loved seeing them just break out of their shell and learn to dive in and love what we're doing. And
I love that.
What
was your proudest moment as a teacher?
My proudest moment, I had a 5th grader, also my last year teaching. I went out with a bang. She was awarded a hero award for our school, and at the ceremony she dedicated her award to me. It was very touching. I cried just thinking about it, but she was a very, very special student to me, one who I still check up on. I told her I would always be around, and I'm always watching. So
that's awesome.
It was very sweet, very kind.
That is so sweet. Taylor, thank you for being on here. I feel like we learned so many things, and it's so good to have this conversation like as we start a new school year and our kids get back in the classroom and teachers get back in the classroom. I feel like it helps us be a good team, a good pack.
Thanks for having me. How fun.
Of course. And Taylor, tell everybody where they can find you over on the internet, because you share some amazing tips, tailored tips over on Instagram. Tell us about those and where people can find you and follow you.
Okay, cool. So my Instagram handle is taylorv.cowan, and I share like life hacks or things I have found helpful, toddler things, gadgets, products, things I love. I just, anything that I think would be helpful for a mama or a working gal or a teacher, I share it. So
I love it. And we'll link to Taylor's Instagram over in the show notes over on our website too.
Yeah. Oh, and gift ideas. I like making gifts. So
those are good too.
Yeah.
Love it. Y'all, that was so fun. I loved hearing all about Taylor's experience and her ideas and her tips. I'm going to take all of these with me as my kids start a new school year. I have a 6th grader and 2 2nd graders, which is like, how is this even happening? I don't even know. It's crazy. All right, as we close out this episode, I would like to say a blessing for you as we leave this time together and get back to our days. If you're a mama, may your family begin this new school year with minds that are excited to learn new things and take on new challenges, with eyes ready to see who might need a helping hand, and with hearts filled with love as you meet each other back at home after your long days. If you're a teacher, may the lessons you plant in your students come with fewer obstacles and more ease. May your hands remain strong and gentle, and your minds and pencils sharp as ever. And one day, I hope you see the seeds you've been planting yield good fruit, that your work may nourish more people than you could ever realize. As always, I like to leave a little tip to help you put what we've talked about today into practice. So here's your task for this week. Listen, I have been there. It is the first day of school, or it's almost winter break, or the end of the school year, and you feel like you need to get your kid's teacher a gift. What do? Well, you could do two things. You can give yourself the gift of not reinventing the wheel, and also get your kids' teachers something they really will love. In fact, you can give the same kind of gift every single time it's time to get a gift. And you know what teachers like? Gift cards. Lots and lots of gift cards. They take up no room, and they can decide how to best use it. At the beginning of the school year, you could pick up a pack of gift cards from Office Depot or Amazon to help teachers buy supplies throughout the year. At Christmas, you could give everyone's favorite gift card, a Starbucks gift card, because caffeine. And at the end of the school year, you could give them a Bon Voyage, enjoy your summer gift card with something from Airbnb or Southwest. If you need a cute little something to go along with it, you could always stock up on Simplified notepads or pins or binder clips to give your gift an extra special touch. Thank you for listening to the Simplified podcast. I hope today's episode gave you a little insight into all the ways your child's teacher cares for your kiddo. You can find show notes for this episode at emilylay.com/podcast, where you can check out links and resources I mentioned here and shop the Simplified brand of planners and products. And don't forget to pick up your copy of You're Always Enough and More Than I Hoped For right now, wherever you buy books. Before you go, I have a quick favor to ask. If you love this show, would you go to your podcast provider and leave a review? I want more people reaching for a life that's a bit more slow and sweet and good. And leaving a review helps your podcast provider get this show to more people who'd enjoy it. If you've left a review, thank you. Please know I've read your words and taken them to heart. Until next time, thank you so much for listening.